Hey guys, how are you? Dave here. It is September 11th, 2008, and this is 2 days, yes, 2 days after Apple's Let's Rock event. There's a little music word phrase thing. Anyway, I'm gonna go through this video and explain to you guys my thoughts on Apple's latest announcements, latest product updates slash revisions, all that good stuff. And I'm 2 days overdue for this, so let's get right into this. And I'm gonna refer to my blog. That way I don't really forget anything. So if you think I'm reading a script, I'm not. Right, here we go. First up is the iPod Nano. Alright, the iPod Nano has been rumored to change to be changed for months now. Technically it's been rumored to be changed for a year now, because every September Apple tends to totally redo the iPod Nano. That's how it has been for the past few years or so. Last year they changed to the fatty kind, which I was actually a big fan of. But this year, once again, they've changed the design, and it's back to the long design, which is like the first generation and second generation Nanos. Where the third generation was fatty, so now the fourth is back to the thin kind. Kind of like the Zune, but it's not like the Zune, so don't compare iPod to Zune. It's like comparing... Anyway. It's a joke, calm down. So my thoughts on the iPod Nano, let me say this. They are beautiful, guys. Beautiful. It's like Apple reached into the sky, pulled down a rainbow and said, look what I got. I'm going to apply this to the iPod Nano colors. Okay, not really. I'm sorry if I sound stupid. I'm just happy because the weekend's here. But seriously, though, the iPod Nanos, guys, ooh, they're nanochromatic. That's, okay. Guys, seriously, though, I just said seriously for the third time. The colors are beautiful. Apple did a great job. I've never seen so many colors introduced at one time in a product line. Usually Apple's the kind of company that just does like 5 colors, or even like 1 or 2 colors for like the entire year. Whoa! Did you hear that? Definitely sounded like somebody just got shot. I don't know what that was. I'm sure I'll check it out later. So, yes, the iPod Nano is back to its classic design. Gotta say, when I first saw the rumors on MacRumors.com about the Nano going back to the old design, I was like, oh, Apple, this is a step backwards. What are you doing? What are you smoking? But Apple's very smart, guys. I'm guessing this is their way of saying not as many people like the fatty kind, the fatty design as they did the first and second generations. Maybe I'm wrong. But then again, maybe they're changing their product strategy here, because the iPod Nano now has a built-in accelerometer, if I can say it. Now you turn it, and like the iPhone, it now switches to the landscape view, cover flow. It's great for movies, for turning into a widescreen, and so to me, it seems like what Apple's doing is taking the iPhone and the iPod Touch interface and applying it to the iPod Nano, but in its own simple way. Because if you didn't catch it, the iPod Nano also did change an interface, which I think looks better. Keep in mind, I have personally not used one of these new Nanos yet, because they're not in stores yet, as far as I know. But I think we're going to Atlantic City this weekend, so I will definitely check it out in the pier. Also, speaking of design-wise, I'm sorry if I'm talking so much. You know, man, this is my passion. There's some music going on outside. When I first saw that Apple's going to the rounded edges, I was like, oh, that's hideous looking. But turns out the screen is not curved, just the glass over the screen. This, to me, was very smart. Well, 1, it's more recyclable. 2, it just looks better. And 3, there's not a third reason. It just looks cool. So I'm very, very, very relieved to see that the screen is not curved, just the glass over the screen. Because at first, when I saw this, I was like, whoa, Apple, this is hideous. I'm sorry, you were great at design, but sometimes you do stuff that makes you wonder. I was like, what were you thinking? But it's great. So that's basically what I have to say about the iPod Nano, and I'm almost up to 5 minutes already. I really do talk a lot. Alright, so next up is the iPod Touch. Okay, quickly. The iPod Nano, for some reason, I kind of want one. That's what Apple does to you. I believe it starts out at, I think you can get 8 gigabytes for like $149 now. That's insane, guys. This time last year for $149, it was like 2 gigs or something. I could be wrong, but it was definitely around there. Technology is getting cheaper, prices are dropping, products are getting better. It's always a good thing for us consumers. All right, so next up is the iPod Touch. Nothing really changed much with the iPod Touch except for two major things. Well, three if you count the third one I'm going to talk about. First up, it finally has volume controls on the side, like the Almighty Jesus phone does. The volume controls on the side. Very smart move, Apple. I doubt anybody from Apple's watching this, well, except if you work at the stores. But the fact that the volume controls are on the side, that's a big deal. Because on the iPhone, I find it a pain to go. Hold on, let me open iPod. I actually don't have any songs on this right now because I'm in the process of doing something. But say I had a song on this, I would have to tap it and then lower the volume or something like that. It's like that to me is not quick and intuitive. There we go. But instead, you can just do the volume control on the side, which is a big deal to me because that's how I'm used to doing it on the iPhone. So the fact that they included that is a big deal. And they also included a built-in speaker. I don't think the speaker is even visible because the iPod Touch is so freaking thin as it is. But the fact that they included a speaker is a really big deal. Jobs did Jobs did make it a point to say on stage that it's for casual listening. So, meaning for you audiophiles out there, don't go bitching about, oh, the iPod Touch speaker sucks. The speakerphone, guys, the speakerphone on here sucks as it is, too. It's just good for gaming and stuff. And speaking of gaming, Apple is going into the gaming market, if you can't notice, with the new iPod Touch ad on TV. It's basically all about gaming, and then they finally show music at the end, showing, oh, look, it's a gaming device, but it also does music on the side. Yes, I know it's still an iPod, and it's built for music, but Apple's really pushing gaming now, and I guess you can put the iPhone against the DS and PSP in terms of gaming sales. It's not a true gaming machine, but it's definitely a very capable gaming machine with its touchscreen, accelerometer, beautiful widescreen display, and now built-in speaker. So that to me is a huge deal, and I'm sure many of you will agree. And Jobs also announced that the 2.1 firmware update is available for iPod Touch users as of this recording for free if you already upgraded to 2.0, and for iPhone, the update's coming out this Friday, meaning tomorrow. Woo, something to look forward to. Alright, the iPod Classic, not much has changed. Honestly, this really surprised me though, not the fact that Apple axed the 160GB model, but they also axed the 80GB model. They killed both, leaving one model. They kind of merged them together to form a 120GB model. That to me is still a crap load of space. I don't think I'll ever use that much space in terms of music. I barely use 5 gigs as it is right now. But that's because I'm getting all my music together, but that's besides the point. My point is that the average person doesn't need more than 120 gigs, but I think it still would have been nice if Apple still had a 160 gig model or a 200 gig model. It would be nice for them to at least offer that, but I don't work for Apple, so I can't really change anything. But it is really cool that they're axing the 80 and putting the 120 in at the same price, I believe. So you get 40 more gigabytes for the same price. Guys, that's practically free storage. And the iPod Classic, I believe, uses the new interface, just like the iPod Nano does, and all that good stuff. Alright, scrolling down. iPod Shuffle. Jobs actually did not talk about the Shuffle whatsoever, which really surprised me. I was hoping they would change the design a little bit. But then again, the iPod Shuffle's design is as genius as it is. Clip it on your shirt, your pants, your ear, whatever you want to do, and go. Shuffle it up. Oh! Speaking of Shuffle, I'm sorry. Rewind. iPod Nano has a built-in accelerometer, like I said before. However, I forgot to mention one very cool thing. It's the shake to shuffle feature. Now you can shake your iPod like you're having a seizure or something, and it'll be like boo-doo, and it'll switch to the next song. By the way, that seizure comment wasn't to offend anybody because it's just a joke. Because I know I'm going to get somebody yelling at me. Whatever. So, at first when I read about that on Mac Rumors, I was like, wow, that's just stupid. Why the hell would I want to shake my iPod to shuffle it? But after Jobs demonstrated it on stage, he has a very good way of capturing his audience And after I saw him do it up there on stage, I was like, wow, it is pretty cool. And I even like the little sound it makes, like doo-doo or something like that, and it skips to the next song. So, fast forward, back to the iPod Shuffle. Nothing really changed. Same prices, same gigabytes, 1 and 2 gigabytes. However, colors are different. They went back to the more modern, to the more saturated colors. Basically what the iPod Nano has, but not in such a wide variety. I believe there's like 5 colors or something like that. Alright, so moving on to iTunes 8. iTunes 8 introduces Genius Playlist, which I think is awesome. For those of you who don't know what that is, think of it as Pandora Radio, but for iTunes. Basically what Pandora does is it looks at your musical taste, goes out there, and acquires other songs that they think you will like, based on your library and stuff like that. And that's exactly what iTunes does. It goes to your local library, looks for songs that you would never normally listen to, but then they put it in the Genius Playlist, and this allows you to introduce yourself to new music, as well as the iTunes Store. iTunes 8 also goes out to the iTunes Store and grabs tracks from the store and puts it in a right sidebar, which is really convenient. You can preview the songs right there, and if you like it, you buy it for 99 cents. Once again, Apple's great in the whole do it all in one place thing. So, and the Genius Playlists also transfer over to the iPod now. So that's really cool. And I believe you can make Genius Playlists on the go without even using iTunes or a computer. Which, again, Apple does the hardware and software, guys. That's why they're such a great company. Alright, besides Genius Playlist, we also have the Grid View, which to me is great. I practically swear by iTunes. I love it. It's a great program. However, when you used to browse it by album, you would waste a lot of space. It would say like 2 songs in one album, like say I only downloaded 2 songs. But then it would have like 12 empty spots, like a line view, taking up real estate that you're not even using, and to me that appreciates every pixel I have. That sounds geeky, but I'm a graphic designer, video editor, photographer, web designer. I'm all about having as much screen space as possible. So what it just does is it puts the albums in little icons now. Think iPhoto Events View, but iTunes now has that, but it's called the Grid View or whatever, something like that. So I think that's really cool. Oh, this is funny. So it looks like NBC has returned to iTunes. NBC, seriously, I really hope you learn your lesson. I know I sound weird right now, but I'm serious, guys. Why the F would NBC leave the #1 media distributor online right now? iTunes is huge. They they sell so many TV shows, so many movies, billions of songs, literally billions of songs, maybe millions. I think they reached their billionth like a year ago or something. Podcast. Guys, iTunes is the king for media distribution. And the fact that NBC would leave and kind of start their own thing kind of tells me like they shot themselves in the face and came back to life after realizing the huge mistake they made. So NBC, I hope you're watching. You're probably not. But hear me when I say this. Really hope you learn your lesson. You were stupid in the first place for even leaving iTunes, for being all cocky and say, oh, we don't need you. I may be mistaken, but I believe iTunes saved The Office in terms of ratings. Could be wrong, but whatever. So I just think that's really ironic that NBC's back. They basically came crawling back to Apple, which I just find hilarious. Okay, speaking of TV shows, yes, Apple now offers a wide variety of high-definition TV shows, guys. This isn't, to me, this isn't a big deal right now, because this monitor I'm using is not HD. But if I was to rent it, download a TV show at home, on my 23-inch cinema display, which technically is HD, I would pay the extra $1 probably for the HD version. So, yeah, I didn't really see this coming, but then again, I didn't really think about it. But then again, you can't forget HD is the future, and the future is now. Sound like a commercial. New headphones, okay. Apple introduced 2 new pairs of headphones. One is a more consumer-grade headphones. which has the built-in microphone, which I think is awesome. It has built-in skip and previous playback like the iPhone earbuds do right here, but it looks a little different. So yes, volume controls are now on here like a plus and minus. You skip by pressing in the middle, and I believe on the opposite side is a microphone. Again, Apple seems to be taking all these features and putting it into the newer products without having you to spend more money. I know the headphones are separate, but this takes me back to a previous point that I totally skipped over, and that's the fact that the iPod Touch now has the Nike Plus iPod application built in. Yes, you still have to buy the little transmitter for your shoe, but the receiver is built into the iPod Touch as well as the application. So Apple seems to be getting better at including features that they would normally charge more for in the past. So that's always a good thing. So speaking of new headphones, yes, the ones I just talked about, but the second pair of headphones that Jobs talked about is a more prosumer grade model. And these are $79. Uno tonight, $225. Be there, no excuses. Okay, I'll be there. Anyway, we're like obsessed with playing Uno lately. But that's good. I love Uno. Alright, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the new prosumer headphones. They look awesome. I'm not a big audiophile, but I do recognize good audio when I hear it. $79 does not seem that expensive in the way that Jobs explained the new headphones. He was saying, thank you, 7 o'clock, Mr. McIntosh, thank you, that each earpiece has two drivers, one for bass and one for the tweeter, which to me is awesome because I do know what bass is, I know what the tweeter is, and I know what treble is and all that stuff. So maybe I'll buy these, maybe I'll ask them for Christmas. I don't know. $79 to me isn't a lot of money for headphones. Maybe like $150 and up. That's a lot of money. But then again, I don't really know the prices of headphones, so I may be talking out of my butt right now. Who knows? You guys can reply to that in the comments. But to me, the headphones look like a good deal, and I think they're coming out next month or November. I think November. I could be wrong though. That is it. Oh, real quick, iTunes 8 has a new built-in visualizer called iTunes Visualizer. Oh, Apple, you're so creative with your visualizer names. But simple is good. And basically what this visualizer is a bunch of planets forming into stars and trippy. It's like a good thing to watch when you're drunk, I guess. I don't know. You could be like, ooh, look at the colors. Alright guys, those are my thoughts on the iPod updates, iPod Touch updates, Shuffle, iTunes, headphones, all that stuff. And if you're wondering when Apple's going to update the MacBook or MacBook Pro, expect as early as October. And if they don't do it by the first week of December, I say hold off until Macworld. But chances are very good that Apple will roll out a major notebook update within the next month. So that's what I've heard anyway. So hold out on that purchase if you're looking to get a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. I apologize if this video was a little unorganized. I was kind of talking fast, and like I said, I'm in a good mood, so because I don't have classes tomorrow. Yes, I once again avoided Friday classes. Good stuff. Alright guys, I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my website at thecreativeone.tv, and I will have a future blog update within a couple days, maybe as early as tomorrow. And I will have another video up within a week or so. Thanks for watching.